Have you ever found comfort in solitude, discovering strength in moments spent alone? If you often find yourself with just one close friend, or sometimes none at all, you might be part of a rare and extraordinary group, the chosen ones destined for greatness. In a world that often equates success with social connections and bustling networks, it's the quiet introspection and deep spiritual solitude that lay the foundation for profound achievements. Embracing your uniqueness and harnessing your inner strength could very well set you on the path to realizing your true potential. So, if you feel like an outlier in a society that values the noise of social interaction, know that you may be cultivating the very traits that will one day lead you to extraordinary heights. Throughout history, certain individuals have been recognized as chosen ones, people with a unique calling, mission, or destiny that sets them apart from the masses. These individuals often possess extraordinary gifts, insights, or spiritual inclinations that distinguish them from others. They are found in religious texts, mythology, and literature as prophets, heroes, and visionaries tasked with bringing about change, guidance, or salvation. However, this path is rarely without its burdens. One of the most consistent and painful aspects of being a chosen one is the profound sense of isolation. Despite their importance to the world, chosen ones often find themselves walking a lonely road, devoid of deep friendships or romantic relationships. This paper explores the reasons why such isolation is seemingly inherent to their path. The odyssey of the chosen one is often characterized by a unique spiritual awakening that sets them apart from ordinary social norms. Spiritual paths typically involve a fundamental shift in how one perceives the world and interacts with others. The insights gained from these experiences can create a rift between the chosen one and those who remain unaware of deeper spiritual truths. While most people are concerned with daily routines, material gains, and social activities, the chosen one may be focused on higher existential questions, spiritual growth, or a mission that transcends earthly concerns. This divergence in focus can make it challenging for them to relate to the concerns of everyday life, resulting in a sense of separation and, often, solitude. The odyssey of the chosen one is often characterized by a unique spiritual awakening that sets them apart from ordinary social norms. Spiritual paths typically involve a fundamental shift in how one perceives the world and interacts with others. The insights gained from these experiences create a rift between the chosen one and those who remain unaware of deeper spiritual truths. While most people are preoccupied with daily routines, material gains, and social activities, the chosen one may be focused on higher existential questions, spiritual growth, or a mission that transcends earthly concerns. This divergence in focus makes it challenging for them to relate to the concerns of everyday life, resulting in a profound sense of separation and, often, solitude. Spiritual awakening is often described as an unveiling, where the veil separating the mundane from the sacred is suddenly or gradually lifted. The chosen one undergoes a transformation that shifts their perception of reality, allowing them to see the deeper, interconnected nature of existence. This awakening often comes with a heightened awareness of the spiritual dimensions of life, as well as an acute sense of purpose. Such experiences may involve profound moments of clarity, spiritual epiphanies, or even mystical encounters that challenge the chosen one's previously held beliefs and assumptions. The awakening is not just a change in perception, but also a fundamental restructuring of the inner world. The chosen one may come to see everyday life as filled with illusions or distractions that keep people from realizing their true potential. They begin to prioritize inner growth, the cultivation of virtues, and the pursuit of knowledge over the pursuit of worldly success. This shift often results in a loss of interest in activities that once provided pleasure or fulfillment. As their focus turns inward, the chosen one becomes more attuned to spiritual teachings and practices, such as meditation, prayer, or contemplation, which further deepens their sense of isolation. As the chosen one delves deeper into spiritual matters, they often find themselves at odds with the values and priorities of mainstream society. The social world operates on the basis of conformity, shared norms, values, and expectations that bind people together. When a person undergoes a profound spiritual awakening, they may find it increasingly difficult to conform to these shared norms, which often prioritize material wealth, status, and pleasure over inner development. This nonconformity can lead to social estrangement, as friends and family may perceive the chosen one's behavior as strange, impractical, or even threatening to the social order. The rift is not always a result of conscious rejection by the chosen one, but rather a natural consequence of their evolving consciousness. When one sees life through the lens of spiritual truth, it becomes difficult to engage in activities that feel devoid of meaning or to participate in conversations that revolve around superficial matters. This disconnect can create feelings of frustration or sadness for the chosen one, who may still desire connection but finds it increasingly elusive. They may feel that they are speaking a different language, or that the things that matter to others have lost their significance in the light of higher understanding. Part of the chosen one's isolation stems from the burden of knowing what others do not or cannot see. Spiritual awakening often brings with it insights into the nature of existence, the human condition, or the unfolding of destiny. These insights, while profound, can be difficult to communicate, especially to those who are not on the same path. The chosen one may encounter resistance, disbelief, or even hostility when attempting to share their understanding with others. This can lead to a sense of being misunderstood or dismissed, deepening their isolation. The burden is further compounded by the chosen one's realization that their insights do not necessarily make life easier. In fact, they often introduce greater complexity and responsibility. There is a sense of obligation to act according to higher principles, to live authentically, and to remain true to one's calling, even when doing so is lonely or painful. The chosen one may struggle with the awareness that the majority of people live in a kind of spiritual sleep, unaware of their deeper potential or the significance of their actions. This awareness creates a separation that is not easily bridged by ordinary social interactions. For many chosen ones, the experience of awakening initiates a period of intense inner dialogue. The chosen one turns inward, seeking answers to the fundamental questions of life and existence. This inner dialogue can be enriching, providing moments of deep insight and self-discovery. But it can also be isolating, as the chosen one becomes more absorbed in the inner world than in the outer world. The conversations that once seemed vital and interesting may now feel shallow or irrelevant, and the chosen one may withdraw from social settings to continue their inner work. This silence is not always a choice. It can be a consequence of the difficulty in finding others who are willing or able to engage in conversations about existential or spiritual matters. While the chosen one may long for meaningful dialogue, the nature of their journey often necessitates periods of solitude. The quest for understanding demands a retreat from the noise of society and a dedication to the quiet space where the soul can speak. As the chosen one grows accustomed to this inner sanctuary, they may find it increasingly difficult to emerge from it and interact with the world in conventional ways. Another reason chosen ones often find themselves alone is the fear of being influenced or distracted by relationships that do not align with their higher purpose. Spiritual paths often emphasize the importance of remaining vigilant against anything that could divert one from their true calling. Relationships, while valuable, can bring with them expectations, compromises, and emotional entanglements that may not be conducive to spiritual growth. For the chosen one, there is a recognition that even well-meaning friends or partners may unintentionally hinder their progress by pulling them back into mundane concerns or worldly distractions. This fear is not always about the other person, but about the chosen one's own vulnerability to slipping back into patterns of behavior or thinking that no longer serve their spiritual journey. The chosen one may choose to limit their social interactions or avoid close relationships altogether, not because they lack the desire for connection, but because they feel a greater responsibility to their mission. The intensity of their inner work or the demands of their calling often leave little room for maintaining conventional social ties. The chosen one often experiences a paradoxical tension between the longing for connection and the need for solitude. This tension is not easily resolved, as it reflects the dual nature of the spiritual journey. On one hand, there is a deep human need for companionship, love, and understanding. On the other hand, the chosen one knows that the pursuit of these things may come at the cost of their spiritual integrity or focus. The longing for connection is often tempered by a fear of losing oneself in relationships or being misunderstood by those who cannot grasp the depth of their experiences. The chosen one may find themselves oscillating between periods of intense social withdrawal and attempts to re-engage with the world. These efforts often end in frustration or disillusionment, as the chosen one is reminded of the limitations of conventional relationships. The few connections that endure are typically with individuals who are also on a spiritual path or who have a deep understanding of the chosen one's experiences. However, these relationships are rare, and the chosen one must often come to terms with the fact that solitude is an unavoidable aspect of their journey. Spiritual awakening is often accompanied by heightened energetic sensitivity. The chosen one may become more attuned to the subtle energies of people, places, and situations, making social interactions more exhausting or overwhelming. Crowded environments, loud noises, or emotionally charged situations can become intolerable, prompting the chosen one to seek the peace and quiet of solitude. This heightened sensitivity is not merely psychological, but also energetic, as the chosen one becomes more aware of the vibrational quality of different experiences. The need to retreat from social settings is often a matter of self-preservation rather than preference. The chosen one may find that their sensitivity to others' emotions or energies disrupts their own sense of balance. When surrounded by individuals who are unaware of their own energetic states or who emit chaotic vibrations, the chosen one may feel drained or even ill. This energetic sensitivity necessitates careful management of social interactions, often resulting in long periods of isolation to restore equilibrium. Solitude, though painful, can also be seen as a teacher and guide for the chosen one. Time spent alone is an opportunity for self-discovery and spiritual growth. The silence and stillness of solitude provide a space where deeper truths can be accessed and inner wisdom can emerge. Rather than viewing solitude as a condition to be endured, the chosen one may come to see it as a sacred state that allows for a deeper connection with the divine. Many spiritual traditions emphasize the value of solitude as an essential part of the path to enlightenment. The chosen one may engage in practices such as meditation, fasting, or retreat, not as forms of punishment, but as methods of purifying the mind and spirit. Solitude becomes a way of clearing away the distractions of life, allowing the chosen one to attune themselves to the higher frequencies of spiritual consciousness. In this sense, the aloneness experienced by the chosen one is not merely a condition to be escaped, but a transformative space where the soul can find its true voice. The chosen one carries a burden that few can understand, a sense of responsibility that goes beyond personal fulfillment. This often means dedicating oneself to a cause, mission, or spiritual calling that requires time, energy, and emotional investment that is not conducive to conventional social relationships. Historical figures such as Joan of Arc, who pursued a divine mission, or spiritual leaders like Jesus and Buddha, who were focused on enlightenment and salvation, experienced intense loneliness as a result of their higher calling. Their purpose demanded sacrifice, including the forfeiture of personal relationships, to fulfill a greater destiny. The weight of carrying such a burden can be isolating in itself. When one's purpose is perceived as more significant than individual connections, it naturally deprioritizes friendships and relationships that do not align with or support that mission. In many cases, the chosen one's dedication to their path is misunderstood, leading to further alienation. The chosen one carries a burden that few can understand, a sense of responsibility that goes beyond personal fulfillment. This often means dedicating oneself to a cause, mission, or spiritual calling that requires time, energy, and emotional investment that is not conducive to conventional social relationships. Historical figures such as Joan of Arc, who pursued a divine mission, or spiritual leaders like Jesus and Buddha, who were focused on enlightenment and salvation, experienced intense loneliness as a result of their higher calling. Their purpose demanded sacrifice, including the forfeiture of personal relationships, to fulfill a greater destiny. The weight of carrying such a burden can be isolating in itself. When one's purpose is perceived as more significant than individual connections, it naturally deprioritizes friendships and relationships that do not align with or support that mission. In many cases, the chosen one's dedication to their path is misunderstood, leading to further alienation. This loneliness, however, is not merely an unfortunate side effect. It is an intrinsic part of the chosen one's journey. shaping their character and deepening their understanding of the sacred nature of their mission. The chosen one's journey is often defined by an overwhelming sense of responsibility and duty that transcends personal desires and conventional goals. This responsibility is not self-imposed. It is perceived as a divine mandate or a higher calling that compels the chosen one to act, regardless of the personal cost. Joan of Arc, for instance, felt an irresistible calling from God to lead the French army to victory, a mission that ultimately led to her martyrdom. Her sense of duty was so powerful that she was willing to face immense suffering and death to fulfill what she believed to be a sacred task. The chosen one's mission often demands the renunciation of earthly attachments. While others may find comfort in relationships, family, or material success, the chosen one's path requires a different kind of devotion. This sacrifice is not born out of disdain for human connection, but from the recognition that the fulfillment of a higher purpose requires total dedication. It is as if the chosen one is carrying a sacred fire within them, a flame that consumes everything that is not aligned with their spiritual mission. This fire is both a source of inspiration and a force of destruction, burning away all that is non-essential and leaving the chosen one standing alone before the divine. The chosen one's dedication to their path often sets them apart from others, leading to misunderstanding and alienation. When one is committed to a higher calling, it can be difficult for others to comprehend the depth of that commitment or the reasons behind it. This is especially true in a world that values conformity and places great importance on social relationships and material achievements. The chosen one's focus on spiritual matters or a divine mission may appear strange, obsessive, or even threatening to those who cannot see beyond the material realm. For example, Jesus was often misunderstood by his contemporaries, who struggled to grasp the significance of his teachings and actions. His message of spiritual transformation and salvation was met with skepticism, ridicule, and hostility, even from those who were close to him. His dedication to his mission was so intense that it led him to experience profound loneliness, especially during his final hours in the Garden of Gethsemane, where he felt abandoned even by his closest disciples. The chosen one's sense of isolation is thus compounded by the inability of others to truly understand the nature of their calling. For many chosen ones, the path of solitude is not merely a consequence of their mission, but a necessary condition for spiritual fulfillment. The chosen one often finds that true communion with the divine requires a withdrawal from the distractions and attachments of the world. This is a recurring theme in the lives of mystics and saints across various spiritual traditions. The mystics' longing for union with the divine often leads them to seek out solitary places, such as deserts, mountains, or monasteries, where they can focus entirely on their spiritual practice. The solitude of the chosen one serves a dual purpose. It allows for deep introspection and purification, while also fostering a closer relationship with the divine. In the quiet of isolation, the chosen one is able to confront their inner struggles, transcend their ego, and open themselves to the guidance of a higher power. This process of self-emptying, known as kenosis in Christian mysticism or shunyata in Buddhism, is seen as essential for attaining spiritual enlightenment. In this context, solitude is not a burden, but a blessing, a sacred space where the soul can draw closer to the source of all being. The path of the chosen one is often marked by periods of intense spiritual darkness, known in mystical traditions as the dark night of the soul. This term, popularized by St. John of the Cross, describes a phase of profound spiritual desolation and inner suffering that the chosen one must endure as part of their transformative journey. During this time, the chosen one may feel abandoned by both the world and the divine, as if they are walking through a barren wasteland without any sense of direction or comfort. The dark night of the soul serves as a rite of passage that purifies the chosen one's spirit and prepares them for a higher level of spiritual awakening. It is a time of profound testing, where the chosen one must confront their deepest fears, doubts, and attachments. The loneliness experienced during this phase is not merely a result of physical isolation, but a spiritual estrangement that forces the chosen one to rely solely on their faith and inner strength. In enduring this dark night, the chosen one is refined, much like gold is purified in the fire, emerging with a deeper understanding of their divine purpose. Throughout history, prophets and visionaries have often found themselves standing alone, speaking truths that challenge the established order. The role of the prophet is to serve as a messenger, delivering a message from the divine that may be uncomfortable or unpopular. This position naturally isolates the prophet, as their message often contradicts the desires, beliefs, or complacencies of the people. Prophets are frequently rejected, persecuted, or ignored because their words disrupt the status quo and call for radical change. The experience of being a voice crying out in the wilderness, as described by the prophet Isaiah, captures the essence of the chosen one's isolation. The wilderness symbolizes not just physical desolation, but also spiritual desolation, a place where the chosen one feels cut off from the warmth of human connection. Yet, it is precisely in this wilderness that the prophet's message is most potent. The chosen one's solitude becomes the crucible in which the divine message is forged, allowing it to emerge with clarity and power. The chosen one's sense of duty often extends beyond personal salvation to encompass the well-being of others, or even the world. This calling to higher service requires a level of self-sacrifice that most people are unwilling or unable to make. The chosen one may find themselves devoting their time, resources, and energy to a cause that demands their full attention, leaving little room for personal relationships or leisure. This dedication is often perceived as selflessness, but it is not without cost. The chosen one must relinquish their personal desires and ambitions to fulfill a mission that they believe serves a greater purpose. This level of commitment can be seen in the lives of figures such as Mahatma Gandhi, who dedicated himself to the cause of India's independence through nonviolent resistance. His devotion to his mission often came at the expense of his personal life, including his relationships with his family. For Gandhi, the cause of freedom and justice was a sacred duty that took precedence over all else. The chosen one's life is thus characterized by a continual balancing act, where the demands of the mission overshadow the comforts of social connection. Suffering is an inescapable aspect of the chosen one's journey. However, this suffering is not without purpose. It serves as a means of purification and transformation. The chosen one's trials and tribulations are often seen as tests of faith or opportunities for spiritual growth. In enduring suffering, the chosen one gains wisdom and insight that cannot be acquired through ordinary experiences. The pain becomes a teacher, revealing deeper truths about life, existence, and the divine. The transformative power of suffering is a central theme in many spiritual traditions. In Christianity, for instance, the suffering of Christ on the cross is seen as redemptive, a sacrifice that brings about the salvation of humanity. In Buddhism, the concept of dukkha, or suffering, is recognized as a fundamental aspect of human existence that must be understood and transcended to attain enlightenment. For the chosen one, suffering is not a punishment but a process of refinement, a way of shedding the layers of ego and illusion to reveal the true self. Despite the isolation and suffering that characterize their path, the chosen one is often called upon to act as a guide or teacher for others. Having walked through the darkness and emerged with a deeper understanding, the chosen one is uniquely equipped to help others navigate their own spiritual journeys. This role as a guide is not about imparting knowledge from a position of authority, but about sharing wisdom gained through lived experience. The chosen one's willingness to share their insights and experiences often provides a beacon of hope for those who are struggling with their own spiritual challenges. By bearing witness to the trials they have endured, the chosen one can offer comfort, inspiration, and guidance to others. This act of service becomes a way of giving meaning to their own suffering and loneliness. Chosen ones often undergo a process of awakening that fundamentally changes their perception of reality. This can be seen in the experiences of mystics, prophets, and visionaries throughout history who reported profound shifts in consciousness. The awakening process frequently involves breaking away from societal conditioning, leading to a disconnection from established norms, values, and traditions. When one sees the world in a completely different light, it becomes challenging to interact with those who still view life through a conventional lens. For many chosen ones, trying to explain their insights or spiritual experiences can lead to misunderstandings or rejection. Society often views unconventional thinking as eccentric or even delusional. As a result, chosen individuals may feel forced to retreat inward, leading to a state of isolation that further deepens the divide between them and the ordinary world. One of the greatest difficulties for chosen ones is finding kindred spirits, people who share the same depth, insight, and vision. While there may be many acquaintances or casual friendships, genuine connections are rare because few individuals can truly relate to the chosen one's unique experiences and outlook. Superficial relationships that revolve around small talk, social status, or common interests often feel unfulfilling to those who crave deeper, more meaningful connections. For instance, the life of the philosopher Nietzsche illustrates the difficulty in finding intellectual equals who understand one's deeper existential concerns. His profound thoughts about life, morality, and the human condition left him feeling alienated from society. The chosen one's yearning for authenticity in relationships often leads them to reject shallow social interactions, which results in further isolation. The life of a chosen one is marked by sacrifice. To follow a higher calling, many have had to give up comforts, social relationships, and personal desires. This concept is echoed in various spiritual traditions where asceticism and solitude are considered essential for spiritual growth. The sacrifice is not always chosen, but is sometimes imposed by the very nature of the calling. For example, ascetic practices in Buddhism or the Hermetic traditions in Christianity emphasize withdrawal from worldly life to achieve enlightenment. The chosen ones of history, such as saints and sages, often led lives of solitude because they believed that separation from society was necessary for fulfilling their spiritual missions. Their choice, or perhaps necessity, to sacrifice relationships is rooted in the belief that the demands of their purpose are too great to accommodate typical social connections. Spiritual transformation often involves a shift in energy, outlook, and priorities, making it difficult for chosen ones to maintain conventional relationships. Many spiritual traditions suggest that awakening raises an individual's vibrational frequency, creating a natural distance from others who have not undergone similar transformations. People who are still operating within lower vibrational states may find the presence of a chosen one uncomfortable or even intimidating. In metaphysical terms, it is said that like attracts like, and as chosen ones evolve, their energy becomes incompatible with individuals who are not on a similar spiritual wavelength. This shift can also manifest as a change in interests, habits, and worldviews, leading to a natural drifting apart from friends and loved ones who can no longer relate to their new state of being. Many spiritual traditions speak of prophetic suffering or dark nights of the soul as a crucial rite of passage for chosen ones. This period of intense solitude and despair is believed to be necessary for spiritual growth and purification. During these times, the chosen one feels abandoned, not only by society, but sometimes even by the divine. This suffering, however, is thought to serve a purpose. It breaks down the ego, allowing the individual to emerge transformed and strengthened. Historical figures like Saint John of the Cross, who wrote about the dark night of the soul, experienced profound isolation as part of their spiritual journey. The chosen one's loneliness is often seen as a refining fire, burning away attachments and distractions to reveal the true essence of their mission. A significant question arises: is the loneliness of the chosen one an inevitable aspect of their destiny, or is it a condition that can be changed through free will? While some argue that chosen ones are destined for solitude because of their higher calling, others suggest that they have the power to change their circumstances by exercising free will. In the existentialist view, individuals always have the freedom to choose their path. However, for chosen ones, the path may be less about choice and more about accepting a calling that supersedes personal preferences. The struggle between embracing one's destiny and exercising free will creates a dynamic tension that shapes the life of the chosen one. Solitude, though painful, can be a gift for the chosen one. It provides the space needed for deep introspection, spiritual growth, and the pursuit of a higher purpose. Many spiritual traditions view solitude as an opportunity for communion with the divine or for cultivating wisdom. Hermits, monks, and sages across various cultures have embraced aloneness, not as a curse, but as a sacred state that allows them to transcend worldly concerns. For the chosen one, Accepting solitude as a part of their journey can lead to a profound sense of inner peace. When they recognize that their path is not about fitting into society, but about transforming themselves and, by extension, the world, their loneliness can transform into a powerful sense of purpose. Throughout history, there have been countless examples of chosen ones whose journeys have been marked by solitude. From Moses leading his people out of Egypt to the lonely meditations of the Buddha, the archetype of the chosen one appears in various religious, mythological, and literary traditions. Even in modern literature, characters such as Frodo from The Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter face isolation despite having companions, as their destinies set them apart. These stories resonate with people because they reflect a universal truth. Those who carry a higher purpose often walk a solitary path. By examining these examples, we gain insight into the profound sacrifices and transformative experiences of the chosen one. Transcendently, the chosen one often exhibits psychological traits such as heightened sensitivity, deep introspection, and a strong sense of purpose. These traits, while beneficial in some respects, can also contribute to feelings of loneliness and alienation. Psychological theories, such as Carl Jung's concept of individuation, suggest that the journey toward self-realization often involves a process of separation from the collective consciousness. For chosen ones, this separation can be both a source of strength and a barrier to forming meaningful relationships. Their deep insights and unique perspectives may be misunderstood,